What's good, y'all? Welcome to my review for this week's episode of Hero Waka Vigilantes, man. Another banger episode, man. Honestly, this episode was just gorgeous, just from an artistic standpoint, man. I love the lighting in this episode, storyboarding, the coloring, various frames, man, looked absolutely just breathtaking, man. Shout out to the animation directors, of course, the storyboard artists, the director of the episode, everyone that worked on this episode, because this episode was probably the most gorgeous looking episode we have seen in Vigilantes before. There were so many amazing shots in this episode, man, and it was just an amazing episode just to look at. And we also found out that actually Koichi saved Popstep as a child, and like he even gave her one of his hoodies. Now his collection, which he also has like literally all the other All Might hoodies, which I do wonder, does Izuku have all these All Might hoodies as well? Does he actually have the complete set, or is it just Koichi? And then a lot of them look really good. Like that black one that got like the one that was the black and reddish. That one looks sick, man. I need that as like an alternate costume for All Might, you know, in Ultra Rumble, like a color swap. They need to put that in the game, man. But, yeah, man, like, so, yeah, and I will say, like, and that would definitely kind of make sense, because I remember when the episode, like, right before the initial episode drop, you know, we got the initial post coming out there, man, and of course the mangaka for Vigilantes been posting little sketches like Horikoshi does to commemorate each new episode that drops, and, you know, I'm pretty sure this was either, like, right before the episode had officially dropped. This might have been while it was airing in Japan, but didn't quite air on Crunchyroll yet. So, but I'm not entirely sure where it was. It was like literally like right. I remember this came out like right before the episode had like dropped on Crunchyroll, and I saw the notifications for it from the Hero Waka Discord I'm in, which has notifications when the episode's released. Anyway, that he had like put Pops in with one of Koichi's jackets on there. It was like the Silver Age one. I was like, okay, that's weird. And I think I saw another artwork or something with her holding that All Might jacket. I'm like, okay, that's weird. I don't know, why is she holding an All Might jacket? And then like when I was here, so I'm like, oh, that's what she's holding. Okay, that's fucking awesome. And yeah, like I said, you guys know I was like kind of like getting behind it. Like I was there like, hey, there might be something here, and I was like up the ramp of the ship. Yep, I'm going higher. I am going up. Which yeah, I will definitely. I really dig these two, man, and like, you know, obviously people on Twitter are like throwing a fit because like, oh, you know, Pop stepped on minor, though we don't know her exact age yet, which, like I said, I mentioned, I thought my theory was like she was probably like around 16, 17 probably, but yeah, I mean, I enjoyed them regardless, man, so yeah, sue me, I guess. Anyway, enough jibber jabber, guys, let's just jump right into the episode itself, and also the Akira slide was fucking awesome, man. I love the little Akira slide that they threw in there, man. It's always good to see an Akira slide. So we start the episode off with an actual flashback back to Koichi, I'm assuming at the start of his college journey. First of all, I love this opening shot where you got like the neon sights, light lit up and everything, man. Background work for Vigilantes has always been great, man, and this shot was no different, man. I really like this shot. So Koichi's chilling with some of his classmates, man. Most of them, or if not all of them, I think, or at least one guy is very hammered, and all of them are probably a bit tipsy at the very least. But definitely one guy is definitely very drunk. So because of this, one of the girls suggested they go out and grab some tea instead to, I guess, help with the alcohol. And Koichi says, oh, my house is up there. Oh, my house is nearby here. Let's just go over there and, you know, drink some tea there. They like, cool, man. Let's go check out your place. We see Koichi's place, and we see this decrepit, broken down, like, apartment complex or whatever kind of building this is, where like the lamp posts or whatever, the light posts or whatever, I don't know what these things are actually called. Or like streets and whatnot to like light up the streets and whatnot. Very dimly lit. There's like literally only one that we can actually see within the frame. As Koichi is like, they're all like, oh hell no, this place creepy as hell. Fuck this, I'm out. But Koichi grabs this poor woman's hand that I'm pretty sure is voiced by Jade Saxton. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that's Jade, which marks her the second, and then we also have Kyle Phillips like right after this as the third main Hero Waka fan that's made like a cameo appearance, voicing some random like background character, which I found kind of funny. Like, are we gonna hear Lucy in one of these episodes eventually? Yeah, but yeah, I thought that was pretty funny when we also got Kyle Phillips playing in the reporter. I don't know if they've been doing this purposely, grabbing the main, you know, Hero Waka cast members, having them play like these random, you know, background characters as like a joke, as like an in-joke for fans. Be like, oh hey, it's Kyle Phillips, or like usually the Kyle Phillips, Jade, and Justin were recording something else while they were at Funimation, and they said, hey man, while you're here, you might as well you might do some quick lines for Vigilantes while you're here, and they're like, sure, and you know, that's it. I don't know if this is like some carefully planned thing they're doing with the dub of Vigilantes to like tie it back with the original one. It's a little in joke for fans, or it's like with any other dub where they just had them do it because they had the extra time during their sessions. Whatever the case may be. So yeah, Koichi slowly starts pulling this woman into his room as he starts getting engulfed by the shout. He's like, oh, don't worry, I got some tasty tea with your name on it. And she's like screaming out, somebody help! So, because of this little thing going on there, man, everyone now think Koichi is a freak. They think he is like a serial killer or some sort of depraved freak. Because like, oh man, you try to get some girl into like this abandoned apartment complex. You better watch us again, man. You can't judge a book by its cover, man. You gotta keep your guard around. God knows what he gets into when you know what he's looking. Also, which also makes me wonder, what the fuck is this building? Like I'm assuming Koichi brought them in to take them up to the room, which is where he actually lives. But like, what the fuck is this? Is this an abandoned complex? He's just chilling at the top on its roof? Is this building actively being used? Like, is he like what is the origins of this building? I need to know. How did Koichi find this property? How much rent does he pay? Does he even pay rent, or is he literally just like fucking or is he literally just like raiding the place? Is he just like taking or is he just like taking this, or just make this abandoned apartment complex, this abandoned building his home in the roof? You know what I mean? Like, hopefully I do hope this I genuinely want an answer to. I would love to see it get mentioned in some episode about it, because I'm just like genuinely curious of what the origins is about this building that Koichi is living in. So anyway, we also get another really good shot of the lighting here with the sunlight passing through as Koichi's drinking some coffee. Like I said, this whole episode was just gorgeous to look at, and there were so many incredible shots in this episode. Anyway, so Koichi's drinking some coffee. He's like, well, at least I got this nice place. It's bigger than most people, but because it's so big, he feels a bit lonely. And once again, we did get another amazing transition as Koichi puts his coffee mug down, which is of course all my fave, lays his head down on the table he's at, and then the camera pans to the coffee mug, which I wouldn't be surprised was CGI for this bit, and passes, and the camera pans past it to where then we're back to the present day. Past Koichi's cover, where once again Pop Step and Knuckle Duster are arguing because Knuckle Duster is smoking indoors. So once again, I mentioned this. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in reviews of past episodes of Vigilantes, but I've been loving the little transitions they've been doing. Man, they've been very clean, man, and hopefully we get to see more of them throughout Vigilantes for both the season and of course future seasons for Vigilantes as well. Anyway. So like I said, Pop Step is not arguing with Knuckle. They're telling him to smoke outside. She's like, what? It's no big deal. She's like, I love Pop Step, and also big shout out to I forget the woman's name who voices her in the dub, but she's been like one of the highlights of the Vigilantes dub for me. Macy Annie Johnson who voices her, man, she is amazing. She actually it was actually just Efna, if I'm pronouncing her name right. Efna Senpai is the actual. She just posted like the print that she was commissioned for by her of Pop Step, which looks amazing. So shout out to her, man. Shout out to this, or maybe it's a dude. I don't know. I'm assuming it's a woman. Of this artist, because this is actually the second time they've been commissioned by VA. Kyle Phillips also has a commission as a print from that was designed by them as well. With that's the meme with Kaminari Bakugo and Bakugo's mom. That's pretty funny. But this one she made for Pop Step, man, looks amazing. So shout out to her and shout out to Macy because she's been killing it as Pop Step, man. She's probably the highlight of the dub cast for me. So far in Vigilante, but she's been absolutely sensational. Anyway, like I said, she's telling her about like she doesn't want her fans to smell like that never gets invited to parties or to like family parties or whatever, man. That had a good laugh out of me, man. And then she's like begging Koichi to like do something about Knuckle Dust. And he says like, well, at least there's never a dull moment with these guys here in Koichi's narration once again. So after the OP, man, we actually get something a little bit different where they actually changed. I don't know if this was in the previous episode or not. This is just what I just noticed it. They changed a little definition thing from Vigilantes to villain. They changed it to villain. I don't know if this was there for last week's episode as well, but I just noticed it for this episode, so I figured I'd mention it as well. This is when we get some newscaster of which I mentioned before, voiced by Kyle Phillips, and the news is actually NHA, which I'm pretty sure is meant to be a reference to the to NHK news, or you can make it like MHA, like Hiroaka, if you switch the H with an M. But either way, like I said, the news reporter is voiced by Kyle Phillips in this one, which I thought was pretty funny. And we get the news reporter that there's a villain on the loose that's armed and dangerous, and he's on loot robbing jewelry places. We then cut over to some alleyway where we see our first look at Stain as his previous, I guess, vigilante, a person before he became the hero killer Stain, where it looks like he was killing villains before he became the hero killer. Which is and I love his suit, by the way. I love this like samurai outfit he's got going on, man. Looks amazing, man. And he looks like he just finished killing off this one villain You've already cut back over to Pops again. Now it's been several months later, so I don't know if that means like this was meant in the past, or it's been like several months since the previous episode of Vigilantes, and this is going forward, and we had a massive several month time skip from Vigilantes. I don't know which one it was that was like meant to be like in the past, but whatever the case would be, there was a time skip. So then we see Pops going into Koichi's apartment. She found she actually has her own key to get inside his apartment. When the fuck was that? I guess that was in the time skip. And she's going in there to like review her set list, maybe like work on brush up on her choreography, and maybe even make a new song. She goes inside, which I don't know why she has to go inside playing. Like I feel like you could just do this all on the roof. You don't need to go into Koichi's place because I feel like you would have way more space, especially with your quirking how you like to jump around. It would be better if you just chilled on the roof instead of actually going inside, but whatever the case may be. Anyway, so Koichi he's busy sewing up his jacket. His jacket's like it's been a little dinged up, and he's trying to like revive it by sewing it, like very much like Spider-Man. And so she's like, oh, you're here, Koichi. She's like, yeah, I live here, as you keep saying. So then this woman, mind you, this is still Koichi's house. He is the one that has to pay the rent on this place, assuming he pays rent all he did, and he isn't just like, I forget, squatting, I think is what the term is, when you like just take over a property that's abandoned or whatnot. I say, but anyway, she goes into the man's fridge. Yes, this woman starts raiding my boy's fridge. I'm like, bitch, you weren't the one paying the rent. Goes in there, grabs some pudding he has in the fridge, and starts eating. She does not even ask Koichi, hey, Koichi, can I have this pudding? No, she literally just grabs it and takes this man's pudding. Literally, this bitch is out here raiding my boy's fridge. You hate to see it. And then, like, later on in the episode, when she starts eating and Koichi's explaining to her about the hoodie, Koichi says, oh, I was going to eat that. He's like, well, you should have put your name on it. I'm like, bitch, this is his house. The fuck you mean put his name on? This is his house. You are not his roommate. He does not even put... No, lie, bro. Pops and Nebula are low-key shit roommates. They're not even roommates. But like, damn, bro, I feel so bad for Koichi, man. Like the fact these people be out here raiding his fridge and shit, like they own the place, man. Like they live here, man. You hate to see it, man. You hate to see it. So, but Koichi, he a better man than me, because I probably would be a little bit salty about this. He just brushes it off, says that this part, that this side of Pop Step is funny, that she can't back down from, that she just can't back down from a fight. She's like, I am an idol. How dare you make me out to look so crass? She obviously didn't emphasize the rest of it, but she did a little bit. And I think by this point, and once we see it, especially later on in the episode, it seems like that Pop Step might be, I don't know if I would fully classify her as a tsundere. I don't know if she is or not. But I definitely think she definitely has some tsundere elements, or she definitely has a bit of that, just as much of a tsundere DNA in her, I would say. I don't know, I could be wrong that one, and it might be something else entirely or whatever, but I definitely think it's safe to say she has a bit of a tsundere, some tsundere DNA inside Pop Step. And so, this is once again, like, just asking how much I just love these two so much, and like, yeah, I am starting to low-key start to like get behind the ship and whatnot, man, but hey, it's nigga aside, man, I just really dig their dynamic. Anyway, as I was saying, so then we get this really nice moment where after he mentions about sewing up his hoodie, she asks why he can't ever accept himself, accept his worth rather, and get something and get something he's actually good, rather than just having to keep sewing up that crummy thing, which immediately pisses off Koichi. He's like, how dare you say what you want me, but the moment you talk about the hoodie, that you are crossing a line. Definitely, it's very obvious that Izuku and Koichi would be fast friends, man. Without a doubt, they would be fast friends. So, like I said, Koichi gets pissed off at her for, making fun of the jacket, man. How dare you make fun of the jacket? She's like, okay, that's a wolf for me. And then we see his full collection of hoodies that he has from All Might. A lot of these have really nice colors on them too. Like we got this one, on the bottom row, on the second one on the bottom row, far right. We have this one black and red one that I'm assuming is current outfit that looks really nice. And like I said, I would love to see in Ultra Rumble. We also got this other black and red one as well with a different design that I've never seen before. That looks really cool as well. We got another one that's black, red, and yellow that looks really fucking cool that I would love to see as well. There's a lot of really cool hoodies in this, man. Like I would love to see these as Ultra Rumble, as Ultra Rumble Ultra Rumble costume for All Might, or hell, if Koichi ever gets added to the game, I'd love for him to have alternate costumes where you have all of these colors as alternate color swaps of his main costume. And you probably have the most out of any character for just straight color swaps, but I would love to see them, man. So hopefully one day, I don't know that we will ever see Koichi get added. There's still a bunch of characters we're still just going through the characters that have been released in One's Justice 2, so we still haven't gotten any new, fully original characters. Miracle hasn't been added to the game yet and whatnot, so we still got a ways to go before we can can start even thinking about Koichi and Vigilantes characters coming into the game. But hopefully but if it ever does, man, the game's successful enough that they can start adding Vigilante characters. Hopefully they add all these all these color swaps as various, all of these hoodies as various color swaps for Koichi. So he explains how they're all limited edition and merged, that they're not cheap and whatnot, man. That he has basically all of them minus the the authentic colors version of his Silver Age costume, which he has like, oh, you don't have the full collection. He's like, I have, but I gave that one to a boy. And so we then get a flashback to Koichi in middle school where he was late for his hero license for his hero course entrance exam. He was late for school, and he was rushing over there. And then while it was going on there, and as we can see, we see him wearing the Silver Age costume. Which one thing I thought was a little bit bizarre is that even though Koichi's in middle school at this point, his voice is the exact same as he is currently. Which I thought was a little bit bizarre considering, it's a middle school, man. Usually they would always, for that character, would always change out their voice at least a little bit, or get a different voice actor to voice them because they're younger. That did not happen here for the dub. I'm assuming the sub is in the same category as well, which I thought was a little bit weird which I'm kind of surprised they didn't go through the trouble of actually, changing up his voice and all, and switching it up a little bit, since he's now in middle school, having to go to a higher pitch or something. But it's whatever. Anyway, like I said, he starts getting lost, and he's trying to figure out where to go, and that's when he hears some people crying out for help, and then he sees a little boy. Yes, he thinks Pops up as a little boy. To be fair, from the way he was looking at him, man, and from his everything, the fact she had short hair at the time, I could see why he probably suspected that she was a boy, because he wasn't really giving a good look at her. But I did find that pretty funny that he thought that she was a boy. But anyway, you have these three older gentlemen crying out, there's somebody, call the police, no, call the fire department, because Popstep is getting carried away by the river. Koichi is wondering if he should go. If he goes to save her, man, he's not gonna make it in time for his entrance exam, but he says fuck it, and goes in there, strips off his clothes minus his boxers, grabs Popstep, he's like, somebody! And he's like, oh, it's shallow. And so the three, and then eventually they pick him up. Someone asks him where his hoodie's at. This older woman grabs his hoodie for him, throws it over, pops it, and runs away back over to try and make his entrance now. But we find out that he didn't end up making it time. Also, I gotta say, this is another shot of gorgeous in the episode, man. This sunset shot as Koichi is continuing on telling the story, man. This part of the episode, once again, also phenomenal. And Koichi continues on to oh, I don't even know his name. And then we get this pop. Then we see Koichi daydreaming in this future where he's a salaryman and he sees that kid is now all grown up into a pro hero. It's I'd recognize that pink hair. The kid became a hero. That's good enough for me. And then Popstep gets pissed off at him about that, saying he gave up his chance to become a real hero, and how stupid can he be? And then she storms off. And this is when as we follow Popstep back to her house, we find out that she was in fact the kid that Koichi had saved all those years ago, back in middle school. And then she still has his hoodie and everything, man. And she's and then we find out from her perspective on what happened, that she usually to use her her quirk to jump to over the sidewalk, so she could so she wouldn't have to jump over the river, so she wouldn't have to take the long way to cross it. But it had been raining that day, and she had slipped, and then of course fell, and then of course Koichi saved her. She mentions how it's good that she finally got to meet him, that she just got to meet him, and that he saved her again. Although, to be fair, it looks like Koichi was definitely just gonna leave her to get assaulted by these crooks. If Koichi didn't come to his senses and be like, you know what, yeah, I'm a real hero, and go save her, I know you're gonna be Koichi. A little bit too much crap with that one, man. I'm just gonna say that real quick. Just saying, but yeah, this was a really nice moment. And then we see her she's I can be nice too. And she's I'm not a boy, you poop for brain. Literally shoves his hoodie back in a bag, grabs some more pudding from some dessert shop or whatever she's at, and then rushes over back to Koichi's house. We get this beautiful shot of her jumping over buildings, and we see her behind the crescent moon, man. Looks incredible. And the music here was also fantastic as well. This was such a beautiful sequence of the episode. She finally gets over to Koichi's place. She's blushing. She's like, hey, I was and Koichi after she figured out something, and he says no, and she says no, it's not that, and she's and that she wants to tell him something. She walks inside, and then there's Knuckles out already chilling, drinking some beer, going on. Their Pops of course is flustered about this, that her movement was all ruined, and then now it's just her and Knuckles chowing down this pudding she got, and he's like, you got us pudding, ain't that for chicks and kids? He's saying it while he's actually eating the pudding, which was funny, man. But yeah, that was a fun part of the episode. Now, for shits and giggles, let's do some Steiner math to see if we can figure out what Popstep's actual age is. So, we know Koichi is in middle school, and he's going to go for the entry exam for a hero course. We can assume he's probably in his third year in middle school. I don't know the Japanese school system is, so for all I know, this could be his second year, and they do this shit early. I don't know, but for argument's sake, let's just say he's in his 3rd year of middle school, and he's about to, which would make him probably around 13 years old. Pop Step, she's obviously in elementary school, she's a kid, so she's probably like, from the way she looks of it to my eyes anyway, around 9, 10, 11-ish years old, around that age range. We'll just say for this, that she's 10 years old, meaning that there's a 3-year age gap between her and Koichi. With Koichi being 19, that would mean that Pop Step is 16 years old, which is in what I suspected her age, because you guys remember I said that she was probably 17, 18 years old, but the earliest is that she would probably be 16. So yeah. So that's how old Pop Step is, and my Steiner math is correct. I would say it's never wrong, but I am not Scott Steiner or Braun Breaker, so I am not confident my math is correct. But yeah, also man, I know I mentioned this before, but I really am digging Pop Step and Koichi's dynamic. Like this whole sequence right here, where she does talk about Koichi not having much self-worth in himself, that he's better than how he thinks it is, and that he should have more self-confidence, man. I really dig it, man. I like this whole thing with Pop Step and Koichi, very much in line with Izuku no Uraraka, man. Very similar vibes in terms of the dynamic of these two, man, and I just love it, man. You want to call me weird because I am kind of starting to get behind the shit and starting to ship them a little bit, fine, but I just really dig their dynamic, regardless of how old these characters actually are. You know, I just really dig their dynamic. So then Koichi asks, like, if she got him anything, he says, like, and she points to the one that Knuckle does, he's like, that's the one that was meant for him. And then he asks her, like, why she's here, and she's like, it's just something to do in the bed. She's like, grab my stuff and your arm comes off! She's like, I'm leaving, and then she just storms off once again. And so she's like, ah! Like thrashing all over her bedroom, throwing her legs on the ground, like, oh, why? Or on the bed, excuse me. Like, why does this always happen like this? And then she looks over at the bed once again. She takes her head out from underneath the pillow. And then we actually get to hear Macy sing for a little bit for right here, which I gotta say, man, she has a really fucking nice singing voice. Like, I'm like, yo, can y'all, like, let her dub the songs, too? Like, she can clearly sing. She has a really nice voice. Like, really fucking nice. Like, I was actually kind of surprised how good she can sing. Like, she has a really nice singing voice. Singing, and every time I put it on, my courage explodes and all my worries are gone. It's like, yep. Which I'm assuming that's why she put the jacket on to see if it would actually work, but it doesn't. And then the commercial cards actually come back for this episode. Yay, that's good to see. So then we see this guy getting discharged after we see him get interrogated. Once again, the cops are trying to figure out what's on the trigger, and he says the same thing they've been saying. He doesn't know where they got, he doesn't know how to get more. They just gave it to him for free. So he's walking through some back alleys, and that's when Hachisuka meets up with him again, and she offers him some more trigger. This time it's a new type of trigger, which looks seemingly is even stronger before, because I believe she mentioned later on, a little bit later on in the episode, that this one is meant to, like, you know, once again, like, enhance their strength even more, but I think also, like, give them back some more of their brain function, so they're not just like mindless berserkers. You know what I mean? I think I could be wrong on that one, but at least that's what it sounded like from, you know, how she was describing, which is like recording the data about what this new version of Trigger was actually doing. So Koichi comes to the scene while this dude is rampaging the city once again. We find out that actually how the whole villain thing works, that they have to commit multiple core offenses in order to be actually labeled a villain. If you're one and done, they basically just let you out. Seemingly, they just let you out after they're done interrogating you, and so Queen's like, all right, we better stop from doing more, and then she pops and says, like, the way you make it sound like you're almost trying to help the villain from the police, or protect the villain from the police, which had me laugh. But yeah, then gets this really nice cut of the episode. This is probably my favorite cut of the episode, which I really like the perspective of it as Koichi charges as Koichi charges towards the villain. I thought that was a part of the thing. And we found out the dude actually got his name right, calling him the Crawler. He's like, hey, Koichi's like, all happy about it, and Paul's like, you shouldn't be happy because that means that he's on, because if he knows you're in, that means he's targeting you. We also get this really nice shot as well, where like Koichi and him are like fighting off, and Koichi's like trying to chase him away from one of those buildings, and you can see like pops up in the foreground, and she lands on a building. While you see Koichi in the background. I love a storyboard for this particular shot. Man, it looked really nice. Anyway, so Koichi has him follow him through to get away from some villains, and they end up on like this parking garage area where she's obviously communicating with Pop Step, and then she makes out that the old man isn't there, and we found that Knuckles says like, he's like, I'm busy, you know, and leaves. And they're like, wait, he actually has a life? Which reminded me of that bit of SpongeBob where he says like, I ain't got all day, I ain't got a life. SpongeBob is so cool, man. Anyway, so then she tells him like he's just like holding him off until distracting him long enough to where she can call it in, and then she like grabs her microphone and tells everyone like that about to tell him to call the cops. This is when we then get the Akira slide, which is always happy to see. I'll probably put that a thumbnail for this video, excuse me. And now they're in this parking garage where he's just basically stalling for time in order to get till the cops show up. Which no, like, this part of the episode kind of remember them being a parking garage, this dude being like a big, strong villain. It did remind me of the fight from Ultimate Spider-Man where you fight the Rhino, also in like a used car lot. Which I don't know if anyone knows that, but it just kind of reminded me of that stupid from Ultimate Spider-Man. So anyway, this goes on. We also see this really nice cut of where the dude like slams down the ground from where we're inside like a car, and then we see the glass just kind of like shatter or start see it start to break, and like that cut of the episode looked really good as well. Anyway, as Koichi's talking to attack, he mentions with all the debris flow, it's gonna be hard for him to keep his footing, and then like right on cue, right after he says that, he loses his footing and is about to fall down. But this is when Stain shows up. This is also like when we also get to see Hachisuka like recording the data about this whole thing. But as I was saying, Stain shows up. He fights off against a villain well enough for the cops before we start hearing sirens from the cops, and everyone takes their leave. He introduces himself as Stendhal before everyone takes their leave. And also, before I forget, real quick, I love the music I was playing during this part of the episode with Stain and the villain, and of course when Koichi was fighting him. I really like the music I was playing. As I was saying, Stain takes his leave, and this is when then we cut over to the next day where Koichi's telling him all about Stain and how badass he is, and thinking he should start wearing a katana. Then she pops and gets a call from knockoff Cyclops and Chotarine saying that they got this badass alum from their school that wants to see that could maybe help them. And he says like he's super manly and all this shit. And also this guy looks like something where I ripped up right out of Tokyo Avengers, but I'm pretty sure Vigilantes predates Tokyo Avengers by like multiple years. So, but it definitely did remind me of Tokyo Avengers kind of in Mikey. So they go over there. Actually, before we go over there, one thing I wanted to mention that's kind of funny was Knuckle Duster says that like after they read the text that someone that justifies their fighting through their own sense of morality is a bit of a slippery slope, and I'm just like, bro, ain't that you though? Ain't that exactly what you do, bro? I'm just saying. So anyway, and then Popsa mentions that the main place is just for him and just for her and Koichi, so stay out of it. They get over to the restaurant where they're meeting up, and we find out that it is in fact knockoff Wolverine from the first episode, and that he is this badass alum from their school. Koichi, of course, is shocked by this. Pop Step is very much pissed off, and wants nothing to do with it. He's just like, fine, I'll leave. I don't even know why I bother coming here. And she basically just tells him to fuck off, and she doesn't give a damn of what he has to say. Which, like I said, I know that from people that were complaining when the first episode had dropped about his role and everything. I'm sure this is when he starts to become a prominent main supporting character of Vigilantes. I'm assuming it starts, around this part of the story. That is my assumption. So anyway, we cut back over to the rock film from earlier, where we see Sting is now stalking him like a predator. And he starts like throwing like daggers at him, one of them landing in his eye. That's when he realizes that his heart doesn't work on his eyes. And when your focus falters from pain and fear, the rest of your core starts to falter as well. And this is when finally, after he emerges from the shadows, he says, that someone that turns to a life of crime is a villain, and I will take away your crime with one slice, and finishes him off and kills him off. We then end the episode off with Stain pulling out more photos of his next target, which is knockoff Wolverine and seemingly the rest of his friends from the other photos that were there that he has with him on him. And then we end with a shot of Hachisuka watching all this unfold. So more than likely she's going to be the one to make, I don't know, maybe turn him into the hero killer Stain, or will at the very least probably try to bring him into their cause, and maybe even give him some of the trigger as well. We'll have to wait and see. Although obviously he doesn't see the trigger because his tongue is in black, so who knows? But definitely it wouldn't be surprising if Hachisuka tries to bring him into their side, to their team. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where the episode ends. Incredible episode of Vigilantes, man. Y'all know I've been loving the series, man. And yeah, excited for next week, man, which looks like it's gonna be awesome as well. And yeah. Anyway, guys, overall, I give this episode a 9.5 out of 10, guys. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. You like it, if you did, subscribe for new. Follow me so you feel like it. Links to the rest below, and subscribe for more. See you guys next time.